Let's go, guys. Let's go. I already got the microphone in front of me. Okay? I got a whole bunch of videos to do. And the first one, let's get right to it. This is Sold Not For Sale podcast. This is episode 469, I believe. And we're talking about Joe Rogan accuses News Nation of being fake or government funded. I love it, man. The past 2-3 episodes, there's just been a lot of talk about conspiracies, and this is a really fun one. Apparently, Joe Rogan was just cruising the internet like all of us do, smoked a little bit of weed, got a little bit high, started watching News Nation and just went, I don't think this is real. And then I looked into News Nation. Now, I didn't go too deep. I just watched some videos and I understand what he means. I get it. I get where he's coming from here. And he may not be wrong. Have you ever heard of the term in regards to media? It's a term called astroturf. It's where something is, when there's a story that comes out that needs to be pushed to the masses, certain astroturf outlets will push this story, push it way more than all the other outlets. And it's because those outlets have actually been established by governments. We're going to get into it. His guest is going to explain that whole thing. First, I got to bring you to the store, of course. Where is it? Boom, let's go. This is the Great Resist shirt. It's one of the newest designs that we have on the IamCoachColin.com website. Join the Great Resist and never join the Great Reset. Do not give in to the Great Reset. Crickets taste like garbage. Do not go for that. And they have parasites. Do you know that? They have like a lot of parasites. Who would have known eating bugs may get you parasites? Let's get right into it, though. If you need a discount, 10% off, put in the discount code area. I am Coach Colin. All one word, all capital letters, all 1 L on the Colin. That gets you 10% off. Now let's get right into the video. Now, and also, if you're someone who's purchased anything from the site, man, I appreciate you. Lady, I appreciate you. They, whatever you might be, I appreciate you beyond belief, even though I don't know if those people really like this channel. Let's get into the video.
Incorporate both New York Times and Fox News, and whoever trains them has tremendous latitude for how they shape that, even before they apply the additional censorship that they apply. And so there's a lot of very important decisions that are kind of being made inside these black boxes right now.
Can I ask you, this is slightly off topic, what is News Nation?
What is News Nation? I don't know what News
Nation is.
Do you know
what News
Nation is?
No,
I don't know what News Nation is.
Is News Nation a real channel?
I believe so.
I was watching News Nation today, and I may or may not have been high. And when I was watching, I was like, this has all the feeling of like a fake news show that someone put together. Like, it felt like if I was the government and I was going to make a news show without Hollywood people, without actual like real sound people and engineers, this is how I'd make it. I'd make it like this. I'd make it real clunky. I'd make the lights all fucked up. I'd make everybody weirdly uncharismatic.
According to Wiki, it's the same company behind like WGN, which is based out of Chicago, which is like a large superstation available on most cable channels.
Okay.
Like
So it's like a cable channel that decided to make a news channel.
Do you know about Acronym?
No.
So Acronym it happens to be a Democratic political action group, lavishly funded, and they have they do this. They have a network of basically fake news sites.
Oh.
And they all look like they're like local newspapers.
Interesting.
Yeah. And so there's I don't know whether this one is astroturf, but the term astroturf. There's a lot of astroturfing that takes place.
Can you explain astroturfing?
So astroturfing is when basically something shows up in public, and it might be a news story, or it might be a protest of some kind, or a petition, right? Some sort of political pressure action that is sort of manufactured to look as if it was organic. It's sort of real turf, natural. Whereas in reality, it's basically been programmed by a political activist group with specific funding.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And a lot of what we sort of think of as the politics of our time, if you trace the money, it turns out a lot of the stuff that shows up in the news is astroturfed, and then the advanced form of that is to astroturf the news, right itself. And then again, back to the training data thing, it's like, okay, can you get all that stuff out of the training data? If that stuff's in the training data, how big of an impact does it have?
The thing about this News Nation. The thing about this News Nation is they're spending an inordinate amount of time on UFOs, an inordinate amount of time on this David Grush case, and I'm increasingly more suspicious. I'm increasingly more skeptical. Like, the more I see, the more people confirming it, the more I'm like, something's not right. And then to see that this channel is the one that's covering it the most, I'm like, this seems like something's off.
Senator Rubio, who's on the Senate Intelligence Committee and has all the clearances, gave an interview the other day where he went into quite a bit of detail. And
yeah, I saw it.
At least heavily hinting that there's...
He's heavily hinting that he talked to someone that says that there's something.
That there are real... Well, he's sort of hinting that there are real whistleblowers with real knowledge.
I want to talk to the guy that sees the ship. That's it.
Yes.
No one else.
Yes.
All this, I talked to a guy who says that they have these things.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean anything to me.
Yeah.
I want to see the fucking ship.
Yeah.
And until then, I just feel like I'm being hosed. Yeah. It just seems too laid out on a platter.
Yeah. So and of course one of the theories is it's an AstroTurf story. Like, is that an AstroTurf story? Is that a manufactured story that's being used to distract from?
Would it be to distract from, or would it be to cover up some sort of a secret program, some military drone program or something of the like?
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, there's been rumors for a long time that the original UFOs, right, where basically it was a disinformation program covering up for the skunk works, the development of like stealth fighters and bombers and all these programs in the 50s and 60s. But
interesting.
I don't know if that's ever been proven.
Well, I'm sure probably some experimental craft were mistaken for UFOs.
Yeah. If you see a stealth fighter for the first time.
I saw one for the first time.
It's pretty crazy.
I saw one right around September 11. We were filming Fear Factor in California, and I was out near Edwards Air Force Base, and I got to see one fly overhead. It's magic. It's like, wow.
Yep.
Like complete Star Wars. Like, as it's flying, like, this is crazy.
Yep.
And if you didn't know that was a thing, 100% you would think that's from another world.
Yep, exactly.
And I can imagine that was developed what year? How long ago? How many decades ago?
40 or 50 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Like, look at that thing. Yeah. If you'd be like, they're coming. Oh, my God, they're coming. But if you can imagine that was 40 or 50 years ago, 40 or 50 years of advancement, like, who knows what they're doing now?
Yep, exactly.
And if I was going to cover it up, I would just start talking about aliens. It's the best way to do it. Don't you think?
It's a crowd pleaser.
Do you have an opinion on that? Or is this something that you find ridiculous until there's, like, real data?
I like living in a world where there are unknowns.
That's what I like as well. Because then you can just say things. Not just all random things, but you can open yourself up to a lot if you're willing to just know that there's some unknowns. When people talk about aliens and they just go 100% for sure, it's like, bro, have you even been out of this continent before you say it's 100%? You've been outside this world? You never have been? Okay. So you know as much as anybody else does. It's like, you read Wikipedia or whatever. It's like, it's okay. You don't know. It's fine. I like it. I like not knowing things. I think it's great. I think it's fantastic. I'm still trying to figure out what's going on in the psychedelic world, let alone what's going on in the universe. Now, I said that I understood where he was coming from when he was talking about News Nation, and I really, really am. Let me just throw this up on the screen for you. Now, I've worked on a lot of sets. I've worked in film and television. I've worked a lot of commercials. I've worked a lot of TV shows. I've worked a lot of movies, Netflix, big, like small, everything you can think of. In fact, the last movie I was on is called Women Talking, and I believe that movie actually got released recently. See my name's in the credits there if you look for it. Now, I kind of understand where he's coming from. Now, what I'm going to show you in this first clip, it's going to be a guy who, let me make sure this is, it is. Okay. So this is the first video. This is a guy that's in a place, right? This guy's in a place. Now, first off, the lady that you see here, let me make sure you guys can see this lady, that's a green screen. She has a green screen behind her. Kind of normal, kind of not. I don't know. You want to not have it seem like there's a green screen behind you, but it's clearly a green screen because every single reporter has that same green screen behind them as they're talking, which is very odd. Same positioning of the building, everything.
Lying, he says, about what they're seeing. Take a listen. We've had actually 13 near-miss encounters. And to think that, we've got a $50 million aircraft and some of the best pilots in the world.
Now, what he's talking about doesn't matter, but can you hear how it sounds when you're actually in a place? This gentleman's actually in a place where you can't control the sound, right?
World who are risking their lives. Why would they lie about it? Honestly, all they're going to do is catch hell.
Okay, so that's a guy. He's in a place. Now I'm going to show you a different video. Now, this gentleman, this black gentleman, again, same green screen that this lady has behind her, same positioning of the building as every other reporter that they have. Very weird, whether they're speaking together or not. Maybe that's just a green screen. Maybe that's just what they do. I don't know. I myself would never have a green screen. It just doesn't make any sense. You'd want people to know that you're being authentic. You wouldn't want to hide what what's actually behind you, Now, this gentleman here, he's saying that he's outside. They're saying he's outside. They're also saying, if you want to see here, see right there, it says live. So they're positioning this as if this is a live video. Now let's play how he sounds.
Live in D.C. So, Evan, there's some tension leading up to this hearing.
Kelly, absolutely. Tension and sparks at a news conference just yesterday, setting the stage for this hearing, the first congressional hearing since groundbreaking claims reported first exclusively by News.
This is clearly a green screen. He is not actually there. And this is, I think, what Rogan was picking up on. He's not there. That's a green screen. 100%. If you're outside, you cannot control the audio to the extent that his audio is controlled. Now, I'm an editor as well. I've been editing for almost 10 years. Yes, you can reduce the noise. You can reduce the background stuff. You can reduce it, but you cannot take it away completely to the point where you sound like you're standing inside of a studio. Now, I just want to replay really quick. I just want you to listen to her voice. Listen to how she sounds.
Set to testify. Correspondent Evan Lambert is live in D.C. So, Evan, there's some tension leading up to.
She's in a place and you can hear a little bit of echo as she's speaking. She's inside of a place and you can hear it.
Correspondent Evan Lambert is live in D.C. So, Evan, there's some tension leading up to this hearing.
Kelly, absolutely. Tension and sparks at a news conference just yesterday, setting the stage for this hearing, the first congressional hearing since groundbreaking claims.
That guy is outside supposedly, and he sounds better than her. It makes no sense. So I think this is what Rogan was picking up on. I mean, if you were high and you knew a little bit about production, as Rogan does, because he has worked on Fear Factor, he's worked on TV shows, it kind of does seem weird. And now you go back to the whole term of astroturfing, and it's like, is this a made up thing? Is this place pushing certain stories for a certain agenda? I'm not sure, because these people, News Nation, they're also the people who hosted Robert F. Kennedy Jr. And I even made a video about it. Robert F. Kennedy said some absolutely amazing things. So this is very odd. Now, I'd hate to say it, but maybe you can just approach them and be like, hey, I need to do a town hall. Can you guys set that up for me? Because now when I go back and watch the town hall, I don't know. I have to see if it's all on the up and up. Not to accuse Robert F. Kennedy of anything. I think he's absolutely amazing. But these people are definitely doing something very odd. And here's the other thing, why I jumped to this so quickly as I hear it. As I see everything, it's because for the longest time, like, I know this channel hasn't been, big, quote unquote, it's small, but, big, hasn't taken off. It's only been like 6-7 months. But I've been looking into this type of stuff for decades. And for the past at least 10 years, people have always spoken about, I think even Alex Jones touched on it, how they're going to fake an alien invasion, how that's going to be the next thing. They had, the whole thing that happened the past 4 years. And then after that, they were going to fake an alien invasion in order to, I'll put it like, in order to get everybody more afraid than they've ever been. Because when people are in that state, the first part of it is everyone coming together, which seems great, It's what people need in the world, unity. But everybody comes together, and then one entity looks and says, all of our governments are going to come together. We're going to protect you all. But then the governments come together. It's one world government. That's not good. And then they take an enormous amount of freedoms and privacies away from the public. And they do it in one swoop of everybody because everybody's really afraid. Now, that's just complete hearsay. That's in the tinfoil circles that I've heard that. And I've been hearing that for years. But it's just funny how, after the whole thing, past 4 years, now we're starting to hear about UFOs more and more and more and more. And every step of the way, it's hearsay. It's almost like there's a preparation happening for people, the same way they've prepped for, another virus. They've been prepping. They've been saying that there's something is going to come. They've been saying that there's going to be another pandemic of sorts. No idea whether it's going to be medical or what, but I don't know. It's just very interesting, very interesting. And then when you learn about the term astroturfing, you're just like, maybe you should look at news stations a little closer, because that astroturfing stuff, that definitely happens on social media. Definitely. Like I saw this kid, he's like a liberal kid, young kid, and he's always talking about the Republican Party. He's always talking about how terrible they are, always doing it. And he's been outed as being paid by, certain liberal entities. That would be a sense of astroturfing. You think he's a real person with sincere views, but he's not. We see that with profiles all the time. Could it happen with a news organization as well? Definitely. We already see that the major, NBC, CSNBC, ABC, CNN, we all see that they have a certain narrative that they all go with at the whim of whoever. So to think that there's a story that's being pushed by all these astroturf outlets doesn't seem out of the question at all. It's just very interesting. Very, very interesting. But I completely understand where Rogan's coming from. Like the video, help boost us out of the shadow realm, and let me know if you've seen anything like that. Astroturfing. It's just weird stuff. If you've seen a news organization where you're just like, this doesn't seem on the up and up. I'm going to be honest. I've watched Breaking Point. When I saw Breaking Point's talking with RFK Jr., you should check that out. Breaking Point's RFK Jr. debate. If you put that in, check that video out. Like I used to, because of Rogan, I thought they were on the up and up. And then I watched that video and I'm like, they clearly have some agenda that they have to, there's clearly some entity behind them that's forcing them to push a certain agenda. It's very, very odd, very odd. I mean, most of you know Crystal Ball, it just doesn't seem on the up and up to me anymore. The same way when I watch CNN, it doesn't seem like it's on the up and up. There's a lot of people I could name that don't seem like they're on the up and up. A lot of them are left-leaning, but I'm sure there's some that are right-leaning as well. And you got to learn to tell the difference. I don't know how to do that, but I'm going to be on the lookout for it from now on. That's for sure. But let me know in the comments if you've seen anything like that. Astroturfing, fake outlets, posing as real professional outlets with their suits and their green screen backgrounds, making you think that they're like in Washington when they're really this like in a studio in like Milwaukee or something. You know what I mean? I don't know. Anyways, other than that, I'm out.